The following program has been rated S for spoilers, which may or may not be discussed by the hosts of said program. Common sense is suggested. You silly person.
Hello, and thank you once again for tuning in to Erin and Drew's movie reviews. In case you are a stranger here or you just plain missed it, my name is Drew.
My name is Erin.
Yeah, I think we've said that before on some of these shows, haven't we?
Yeah.
I think so. And if it sounds like might be radiating some positivity, it's because we're putting out vibes. Yeah. And this was Erin's selection.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see this before, but
I'm not surprised. Not many people have.
But I vaguely remember it from sitting on the shelf at the video store, but never quite being compelled to rent it. Probably because I didn't know anything about Jeff Goldblum at the time. Because I was too young to have probably seen a lot of his other movies, which tend to be... Well, this was a post-Fly, pre-Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Jeff Goldblum.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of like, he wasn't like an A actor, but he was kind of bubbling underneath the surface, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
And strangely enough, I think Cyndi Lauper was maybe even a little more recognizable at the time, at least from being a pop singer. And that's another thing I mentioned. I noticed this at the video store. This has some great marketing behind it, because I don't know of another movie that has this, where it wants you to touch, put your hand out and feel the vibes coming from this film. It actually wants you to put your hands on their hands.
Nice.
And touch and feel it. Feel the vibes. I'm not done yet. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm not sure if that was positive vibes or not, but yeah. But have you ever? Because I have on other episodes of this show, I have lamented a little bit about the death of the movie poster. How a lot of the artwork is getting kind of lame. But I can't remember another one that actually encourages you to reach out and touch it.
Yeah.
I can't think of one.
I can't think of any. Not at all.
You know, you could one-up that, though, if you really wanted to. If some marketing person at one of these movie studios, they're probably not that clever. But if they were, they would do like a scratch and sniff poster. You remember scratch and sniff stickers?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do they still make those?
Yes, they do.
They do?
They do.
Because I remember they used to make all kinds of funky, I don't want to say flavors because that implies consuming them or eating them. But like scents. Yeah, they have like skunky ones and like, I don't know, a lot of off-scented things. Yeah.
Well, the majority of the scratch and sniffs that are bought and sold today are good-smelling flavors, like fruits, things like that.
But that doesn't explain like the Harry Potter Bertie Bott's beans, where they have like, snot flavored things. And
well, that's just for a gimmick.
Yeah.
Actually, the disgusting scents are also for gimmicks. I don't remember the last one that did it, but I do remember when the Rugrats movie came out and had the scratch and sniff cards that came with it. So
they did. Okay.
You had a little sticker on the bottom of the screen, and you scratch that specific correlated sticker, and you smell it, and you're just like, oh yes, dirty diaper, thanks, movie. Yeah. Why?
Just think, kids, you could scratch that off in front of someone in line someday and take up their valuable time while they're buying lottery tickets. That's happened to me many times.
Yeah.
They can't just buy their tickets and go home. They have to sit there, scratch every single one.
Well, they gotta know if they won.
Yeah.
Because then they can get more.
I know. Anyway, vibes. Scratch and sniff posters. Think about that, Hollywood. This was a movie with Jeff Goldblum and Cyndi
It
Lauper.
certainly was a movie.
It was a movie, that's for sure, with Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum, and they have special gifts, which they are then co-opted by Columbo to go and find something in South America. Does that sound like a good summary of the film?
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Cyndi Lauper, I found this out earlier that she is like one shy of the hitting for the cycle, to use a baseball term, for winning awards. She has a Tony, a Grammy, and I think maybe even an Emmy for something.
Okay.
But she has not won an Oscar.
Okay.
And they were saying that this probably wasn't the best example of Oscar material.
No.
No, it didn't do well. I think this kind of appeared and disappeared very quickly from the box office because it didn't do real well.
Yeah, no, it did very poorly. I really only know this movie because as a impressionable child of the 90s, I fell in love with Jeff Goldblum and
understandably so.
In Jurassic Park, and then had to watch everything else he had been in. So this came on the list, and I watched it, and it was dumb, and I loved it. And Earth Girls Are Easy was on the list, and it was dumb, and I loved it. So yeah, I've watched a lot of questionable TV because of people.
Yeah. Did you watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
No, I haven't watched it.
He's in that.
I know, and I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. Well.
It hasn't been on my list.
Throw it on the list. We'll get to it eventually. Along with so many other things that I'll probably never get to before I'm 70. But
so many movies on the list.
Yeah, I've got lots of free time. But anyway, it's like when people say, "I don't have a life." I never know what that means because they usually either means I'm too busy or I have too much free time, and I never know what people say when they mean that. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta go do this and do this. I have no life. Hey, I can go do that because I have no life. I never know what people mean when they say that. Do you?
No.
No, I don't either.
Vibes.
Yeah. Speaking of positive vibes, this has. When I read the summary for this film, it's like I saw it and I think it's like someone. Well, one thing I forgot to mention is that see whose name is on this as a producer?
No. Ron
Howard.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
He is a guilty as charged on this. But it's like, I'm not directing it, but I'll produce it.
It's like, I'll just throw some money towards it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll take a little money from it, but I just don't want my name too high on the list. But it's like someone saw both Raiders of the Lost Ark and Ghostbusters, and then let's throw a romantic comedy in there, and let's try to make a movie out of that, and that's kind of how I think this came about. Or they ended up with this, I should say. Why they picked Cyndi Lauper to be in it, I'm not sure. Because I don't think she was a name. Well, yeah, she's a name, but she didn't really have a lot of street cred as an actress, really.
Right.
Unless you count music videos.
Right.
Because this was like the early 80s was a boom for music videos. And her music videos were very theatrical, I guess you could say, especially if you're familiar with the Girls Want to Have Fun, I think it's called. And she, I also forgot, she was a big participant, speaking of acting, with the Worldwide Federated Wrestling. So
she had friends in wrestling.
She did have friends. Why? I'm not really sure what the connection was there, but some of them were in her videos, I know that. And prior to this, she'd actually made a music video for the Goonies movie. I think it was just for that film. I don't know if it was on an actual album or not. But it was called Good Enough, I think was the name of the song that was on it. But yeah, this is her first actual screen role. And I don't know if they actually were testing people for this part or they made it specifically for her or what the deal was.
I don't remember.
No, I don't either. And Jeff Goldblum, well, he'd been around the block quite a bit. And he was... It's weird to see him in a romantic comedy type thing because of, you know, if you've seen The Fly, which came out, I think, a couple years before this. It's like, I don't watch The Fly and think, oh, that guy's funny, really.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of nerdy, but not really funny. But he has a knack for some interesting humor. Well, anyway, both of these people are gifted in the ways of the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Cyndi Lauper apparently is a medium?
She's got a psychic medium. Yep.
Yep, she's a medium who can talk to dead people, specifically a friend of hers called Louise.
Louise, yep.
Yeah, or is it Denise?
Louise.
It is Louise.
It is Louise.
There's something with an ease in it. I know that. And Jeff Goldblum kind of knows things by picking up objects and just like, oh, this was made in, you know, the Soviet Union or something. And then he can tell you, like, all about that. And this person had periodontitis and all these other weird things.
This knife is from the kitchen.
Yeah.
This knife was involved in 3 murders. Why would you give me this?
Yeah, because they lay all these objects out on a table, not unlike this one, where he picks them up and says different things about them, who touched them, what they were doing, what they were thinking. And then he gets around to touching the table and is disgusted because there was an act perpetrated on that table that he really doesn't want to know too much about.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
That is an excellent way of stating that.
Yes. I skirted around it as best as I could. And
the best line of the movie, too.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, I think it is.
Happens within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That says a lot about the movie.
And it does kind of go downhill from there. well, the beginning of the movie, well, not counting, like, there's an expedition where 2 guys go up into these Mayan ruins, Ecuadorian ruins, South American ruins.
Yeah,
Aztec.
the mountains.
Yeah, they're mountains. Something. I don't know. What do you call those? Mountains.
Is that the Andes?
Are they the Indies or the Andes?
Yes.
Something. Yeah, one is. They're the
yes.
D's.
Yes.
We'll call them the D's.
They're in some mountains.
So they're in some mountains, but then they go to this paranormal studies division, not unlike early part of Ghostbusters, where Bill Murray is testing the cute girl against like the nerdy guy who's probably the better paranormal person, but he doesn't care because he's trying to hit on the girl with the Cyndi Lauper hair, oddly enough. And it's like, it's a couple wavy lines. Sorry. But nobody gets buzzed in this one, though. Because Bill Murray, if they got the wrong answer on the card, he would hit the little buzzer. Where here they don't really buzz people. Which was, I don't know, maybe a little too on the nose, but probably would have been funnier, if that makes sense. But, yeah, and then Cyndi Lauper, she's one of, there's like, what, 10 people? They're kind of being tested for whatever it is they can do. And then you get introduced to them a little bit, and then you have the head of the, not the institute, but the paranormal department, I guess, introduces himself. Hi, I'm Dr. Steele, or whatever his name is. Is it Steele?
Sounds right.
Yeah, he has like some crazy 80s hair there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Some major...
Is that Julian Sands? I don't remember. I know that rewatching this, I'm like, I couldn't believe how many people were in this movie. And Julian Sands is one of them who played the Warlock. Maybe, have you ever seen the Warlock movies?
Warlock?
Oh my god.
No,
okay.
I don't. It doesn't ring a bell.
Cool.
Is it cool that I haven't seen them?
No.
No?
He's a creepy looking blonde guy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
There's a lot of
but
those.
the other one was Steve Buscemi is in this movie.
Yeah, for like...
For about 2 seconds.
Not very long.
But I was still amazed. I'm like, I don't remember him in this movie. And there was a reason he's not in it for very long.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember him in this movie at all.
And he had to have been in it for like... Yeah, like not even 2 minutes.
Gives him a little needed exposition as to why Cyndi Lauper is okay to just leave. And that's it.
Yeah. Just exposition, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they get, or I should say, she gets tracked down by Columbo, as I said earlier. Peter Falk. Peter Falk is in this movie.
Surprisingly.
Fresh off of his role as the grandpa from Princess Bride. And he's trying to recruit her to go down to South America because apparently his son went missing or something. And then
some accident.
Something like that. And then you also kind of get into Jeff Goldblum's day-to-day. He works at a museum, which explains why he picks up objects all the time. You can tell they're historical thing. And it gets a little extreme when like his coworkers know about his little gift. And then you have one guy who's brought something for lunch, and then he grabs his hand and tell me if this fish is any good.
Yep.
And then he says whatever, but it's like, well, yeah, okay, he told you about the fish, but like, wouldn't that make the fish more contaminated by putting his hand on the fish?
Yeah, especially if he's been touching nothing but ancient artifacts all day.
Yeah, and you could get like
He didn't even wash his hands in between.
something that killed the mummies in your fish. Yeah, it's like, well, whatever. Yeah, and I forget how he got co-opted into going to South America.
He needed to leave because the head of the department brought in a whole bunch of people.
Oh, yeah, they were trying to appease a bunch of people, yeah.
The shareholders or something. And he didn't want to. Jeff Goldblum didn't want to. He's like, whatever, I'll go with you. I can use a vacation.
Yeah. He's, and he had kind of a outs with his lady friend, too.
Yeah.
And that's not a good,
Well, that was Cindy's fault. Well, it wasn't, but she told him about it.
Yeah, because, if you're dating a guy who can pick up an object and tell you everything about it, and you let him pick up your underwear, well, you know what? I'm just gonna leave that there.
Yeah.
So, major blunder on her part. But anyway, they go to South, where is it? Ecuador?
Ecuador.
Yeah. And apparently they're going to look for a giant hidden light bulb.
It's like a pyramid.
Yeah, it's like this weird pyramid-y shaped thing that was hidden under some rocks. And there's actually some special effects in the movie, which, honestly, the producers probably could have saved some money and done it a lot more cheaply because it didn't really... Well, he lets like the little chunk of the temple that he's holding in his hand go, and it starts flying around all over the screen like this. And the producer part of my brain shudders to think how much they spent on that for something they could have done a lot more cheaply. That's just me, but
Understandable.
Yeah, but they got some real production value. They actually did go to Ecuador to film quite a bit of this. So, and then there was that weird scene in like the hotel bar where they're dancing, and then he gets picked up by some hooker that wants to kill him or something, and then you find out that one of the members of the paranormal studies group has followed them down there because apparently he's also interested in this glowing Ecuadorian light bulb.
Yes.
Which is what I will continue to call it because that's exactly what it looks like.
I agree.
Yeah.
Keep calling it that.
Yeah. Well, did they ever really say what that thing actually was?
I don't think so.
No. It's one of life's great mysteries. No, it's not.
No.
It really isn't.
No.
But yeah, they get Peter Falk. They take him. They're trying to figure out where it is because he can pad that piece of the little temple thing. He's like, oh, it's this way. And then she's like, no, my friend Louise tells us to go this way. And, they're kind of arguing and all this other stuff. And eventually they do find it, and that other guy tracks them down. And then you find out that the guy who was in charge of the study group, creepy blonde steel guy, is behind the whole thing.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
Yeah, I kind of had that pegged from the first time I saw him. It's like, something's off.
It's like you're a creepy blonde guy.
Yeah, creepy blonde 80s dudes with hair like that usually are not good guys in movies.
Correct.
It's like, Just ask the Revenge of the Nerds. But anyway, actually, that was Ted McGinley, I think, who was responsible for that, but that's a whole other story. I don't know, is there anything else to really mention about this movie? Well, the ending, it's like the beginning was kind of like a Ghostbusters beginning, and then it's almost like they tried to end it like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, very much so.
Because like they open up the thing and then the people disappear,
Spooky, scary stuff,
evaporate, and all kinds of
strange speakings.
Yes, and things.
Rocks falling and
styrofoam rocks.
People die.
People die. And donkeys. There are donkeys.
And donkeys.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Vibes.
That's vibes. Just put your hands out there and feel the vibes. Okay, that's enough. I've had enough vibes from this movie. All right, Erin, what grade do you give Vibes?
I give it a C.
A C? Okay.
Average.
Yeah.
It's not good, but I love it. So
yeah. For not seeing it before, I actually liked it a lot more than I was expecting to.
Oh, good.
But it's still not very good.
No. It's still a bad movie.
It's still kind of bad, but I kind of have a soft spot for it. It's like it starts off really strong and then just kind of goes downhill. You know, I think it would have been different if they had been like trying to solve or like doing other things by like picking up objects and being involved in all kinds of goofy stuff rather than being co-opted to find someone else's treasure. It's like, ooh, like the thing with the knives, or you know, picks up like a piece of garbage on the street and like, oh, this was a homeless person, and you know, just go off into some weird stuff to this, and this is kind of it could have been cooler.
Yes,
I think, but
I think it would have been better if they liked each other. There is a lot of behind the scenes like writings
that
about
they didn't get along.
They did not get along.
Yeah.
At all.
Well. And
they're supposed to be, you know, the romantic couple, so that that always
there is
turns
a scene
out well.
in there. Speaking of picking up objects and knowing things about how they kind of get together at the end of the movie. That's kind of let's just say it's a bait and switch, sort of is a way to say that. So that was kind of neat, but yeah, everything after they get to like South America for me is just kind of bleh. Yeah. I just didn't.
It's like get to the end.
All the paranormal stuff, and you know, like that was all good. You know, the institute things, and then when you get pursued by a guy named Googie. There is an actor in this movie. His name is Googie.
Googie.
Yeah. I think he plays the main antagonist, does he not? Not the head of the institute, but the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose it's my turn to grade this. Yeah, kind of liked it. Not very good. I'm going to give it a C-. Yeah, not mean enough to give it a D, but it's not great either, so it's okay. Not the worst thing I've ever seen, but certainly not the best. So.
Right.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. For Erin and Drew's movie reviews, I am Drew.
I'm Erin.
And put out those positive vibes.
Take back those vibes.
And we'll see you later.
Cable television is the swellest thing they got.